So you want to find out how to make your guitar solos sound better? Let's check it out. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of every time I post a video out on playing guitar. So creating great sound in solos is not just fully about the guitar solo notes itself. There's kind of two things that you need to pay attention to, and number one is the rhythm that's sitting behind the solo, because that's going to dictate a huge amount of the solo. And the second thing is obviously the solo itself and the notes and the sound you're trying to pull out of it. Okay, so if you're the guitar player and you're busy writing, you're going to write the solo over the rhythm. The best thing to do is actually write the rhythm yourself behind it. Now what that'll do is it's going to allow you to dictate exactly how your solo comes through and the chords that it sits on top to come through, which gives you the control when you're writing your solos to line up your sound exactly on what you want to be pulling out and what you want to be saying. So the way that I like to do that the best is I like to just take a bunch of chords and I like to record it onto my phone and then play the phone back through the speaker and start to build the solo that way. Okay. At a later stage, obviously, once you've built the solo, you know, you'll move that into the song. But you gotta start from the beginning and build that solo up. So let's take a look at an example. Okay, awesome. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use my mobile phone here, my voice note, and I'm gonna record, 3 or 4 chords, probably just 3 chords, a chord progression onto the phone, and that's kind of what I'm gonna start writing the solo over. So I'll probably just use an F sharp minor. It's an A major and an E major. So I'm going to hit record there. I'm going to do that. Okay, let's hit stop here. Nice. So that's like 30 seconds. I'm just going to label it solo. Okay, now we're going to play it back through the speaker. Okay, awesome. So let's listen back to that. So I've plugged my phone into the speaker I have behind me here, and I'm just going to hit play. So that's your rhythm. Cool. Okay, so now we're gonna solo over those chords. Now the interesting thing is that when looking at the solo, you now have your set of chords laid out and we're gonna play over it. You're gonna play over it time and time again. Because now you want to decide what you're trying to pull out of this. So looking at that particular progression, we can feel it's kind of like a minor-y sound. And now it's up to me to decide in the solo, am I going for more of a blues sound? So I'm going to add that flat 5 in. So I'm looking in because it's in the key of F sharp, well, F sharp minor here, we can play in the F sharp minor pentatonic. And I can get that blues sound by adding in that flat 5. Or it could be something where I'm like, actually I want to go more into like the melodic side of things and make it sound like quite, just a melodic feel. Or you can look at it and so this is where it becomes really interesting, because these chords now are going to depict, am I going for more of like a country sound, or now do I want to try to put that on top of it? So looking for those types of licks. So now it becomes really interesting because you can now just start to play with as many textures as you can. So now you start to fiddle with notes, like, you know, do I want that kind of more of a, in my pentatonic scale, do I want that kind of the semitone bends, do I want a bit of an odd, like circusy blues sound. Sometimes you can even write it where you try like the harmonic minor, you know. So you start to pull out those particular sounds. And this is where the process of experimentation comes in. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to play that, and the sound I'm kind of looking for here is kind of a minor pentatonic bluesy sound. So I'm going to add that flat 5 in with a little bit of like a melodic feel in. So I'll add a couple notes from the natural minor scale or your normal major scale, A major. Okay, so let's try that out. Okay, cool. I'm going to solo over the sound. So I'm playing the phone back through the speaker, going to listen to the rhythm, and I'm going to solo over it and record. Give it a bar. Okay, let's hit start. So there you can see like I pulled out slightly more of a bluesier sound, had the flat 5s in, kind of pulled out a bit of a melodic sound as I went up. And yeah, just finished and resolved it coming to the end. So that's kind of like a very kind of basic first kind of draft, you know, that you would then take, and then, you know, if you're like, okay, I got an extra kind of like 30 seconds, maybe I'll change the chords underneath and change the rhythm. And that would lead into a whole nother solo realm. So it's really just about, you know, listening back to those chords and feeling how they really depict the soloing that's going to happen over it. But then the soloing that's happening over it is really those extra in-between notes, the flat 5s, the 6s, the 7s, the different types of scales that you're running over it, is really what's going to pull it out. So it's the combination of these two things. I know a lot of people think it's just like this amazing solo from the notes, but there's so much of the rhythm behind it that's really depicting what's going on. So you'll see every great lead player on the planet is an amazing rhythm player. Guys like Slash, guys like Page, John Frusciante, Hendrix, these guys were amazing rhythm players. So it's like focusing on that whole structure of the music and then putting those notes in. So that's what you do with the solos. You just build them little by little, and over time you'll kind of like build, you know, each song you'll build your like, you know, 30 or 40 second solo into something great. Hey, listen, thanks so much for sticking around. If you want to check out my guitar teaching style, there's a couple free guitar lick lessons in the description. I'll leave a link to that below. And if you want a kind of more in-depth study of the guitar, going from zero through the transformation of zero from a beginner to intermediate to advanced and beyond, check out my guitar course, because I pretty much go through every single thing that I've done over the past like 20 years. I've broken down into this course section by section that I used to build the hand strength and the dexterity and all the techniques that I needed to, you know, pretty much to get to the level where I get to play today. So yeah, check that out. And don't forget to check out this video next, which I will leave a link to in the description below. But until then, peace.